less than 48 hours before voters in Hartford head to the polls for primary day. It's a four-way race. Luke Bronin, Brandon McGee, Eddie Perez, and Stan McCauley. We've heard from McGee and Perez. Today we'll talk with Mayor Bronin about why he wants a second term, and with Stan McCauley, a former Republican turned Democrat. Plus, a new effort to restore a piece of Connecticut history, the Isle of Safety. It's all straight ahead this Sunday, September 8th, 2018.
From Eyewitness News, Connecticut's most watched local political program, this is Face the State.
Good morning, everyone. It's 8:30. I'm Dennis House. Thanks for joining us for Face the State on this Sunday morning. The city and town primaries will be held across Connecticut on Tuesday, and one of the hottest races in the state is for the mayor of Hartford. It's a four-way race, but it's only a three-way race on primary day. It's a little tricky, but let's explain. We've already heard from Eddie Perez. We've heard from Brandon McGee. Today we're going to hear from Mayor Luke Bronin and now Stan McCauley. And Mr. McCauley, good to see you here in the program.
It's good to be here.
So you are part of this four-way race, but on primary day there are only going to be three candidates on the ballot, and you are not one of them. You're a former Republican.
Yes.
Now running as a Democrat.
Yes. With
the Republicans' endorsement.
Yes.
Explain.
Okay, well, let's see here. This gets, it's complicated, but not that complicated. My plan, my vision for the city is something that the Republican Party in Hartford, the Republican Town Committee, found worth supporting. So, as they did in 2011 when they supported Pedro Segarra, Mayor Segarra, they decided that they wanted me to move forward and cross-endorse me, reaching across party lines. So I actually will be running on the B line in the general election as the Republican-endorsed candidate.
But you ran as a full-fledged Republican in previous elections. However, this time you decided to switch to the Democratic Party. Why?
Well, I switched to the Democratic Party in 2008. I have very much so want to be mayor of Hartford. I think I have a vision, and I think I have the skill set and have listened to people in terms of what Hartford needs. But I was told in 2007, if you're really serious about anything political in this town, the first thing you need to do is wake up to the reality that as a Republican, you will never be elected to anything.
A lot of people think Hartford has declined in the last 50 years, and it was 52 years ago, the last time that the city turned to a Republican mayor, Ann Usello. Mm-hmm. Why not the argument that maybe Republicans can offer some improvement?
Well, I think that Republicans can offer improvement, as well as maybe members of other parties. But there is what we refer to as a, kind of like a plantation mentality, and people won't leave that plantation. It's like being a rabid fan of a particular sports team. You've been a fan your whole life. Your team hasn't won in 25, 30, 40 years, but you still hang with the team. The same thing could be said about the party. And so the party is just short of almost, a sanctioned religion, if you will. You don't speak ill of it. You toe the party line, and as such, they're not open to new ideas.
As you walk around downtown Hartford these days, you see new stadiums, you see new buildings, you see new apartments, you see a lot more people living in these apartments. So what is the argument that voters should get rid of the mayor that they have?
Well, I think that the argument really comes from the people who are in what we refer to as the second Hartford. There's three Hartfords. There's the first Hartford, where people can go where they want, take vacations twice a year. There's downtown. And then there's the Hartford that's outside of everyone's purview, which are the neighborhoods. And for them, development downtown does not affect their daily life. It doesn't affect the fact that there's potholes or trash on the street. It doesn't affect the fact that they have ideas that they think should be listened to by their elected representation. There's a feeling of taxation without representation.
And what's your idea to improve the city? Your first thing you would like to do if you were elected?
Well, I have a 5-point plan that I've been talking about. It's really not a 5-point plan. It's a way to realign the city's priorities, and there are 5 of them. There's youth and education, there's communication, there's working outside of silos, public safety, and then, of course, economic and community development. And the city is a tool. The city is a tool, and in my opinion, in the opinion of many others, it just isn't run right. I mean, it's not that the city is mismanaged. It's not managed at all.
Well, what's the biggest mistake Mayor Bronin has made in your judgment?
I think his biggest mistake is not not knowing the city as well as one should, and then having a inability to surround yourself with a solid team that you trust and will allow you to govern the city with their input. You know, you can't be the smartest guy in the room. You have to be the decision maker who listens to other smart people in the room. And I think it's good to surround yourself with people who are more intelligent than you are.
In order to pay for some of these programs you're talking about, youth and unemployment, things like that, you need to improve beef up the city's grand list.
Yes.
What is your idea to do that?
Well, you know, bringing our grand list up is going to be extremely difficult if we don't do something about our mill rate. We've got the highest mill rate in the state. Recently, there was a really great article in the Hartford Business Journal, and I thought that the plans that the editor put forward were a very, very solid plan. One of the things that we're running on is the fact that constituents have a lot of answers, whether they be constituents that are residents or whether they be our corporate constituents. We really need to be purposeful in allowing those individuals to give input. I think what he has laid out is a perfect blueprint. It's one of many that I've heard. But until we bring down our mill rate and share some of the burden of the taxes with residents, we're going to be in deep trouble. The other thing, of course, would be to get our share of pilot that we should be getting.
Who do you think is going to win the primary on Tuesday?
I don't know if that might be an endorsement. Question asked, question rendered. The mayor.
The mayor. All right, Stan McCauley, Democrat and Republican candidate for mayor this year.
Democrat and Republican.
Good to see you in the program.
It's good to see you.
Best of luck in November. When we come back, we will talk with the mayor about his re-election plans. And we invite you to watch past editions of Face the State right now on our app or on our YouTube channel.